What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mad Red United. Welcome to Sunday Night Show, the home of real football talk, and it is going to be real. I can guarantee you that tonight. I'm going to hold nothing back. I'm going to leave it to the boys and not even give them an inkling as to my thoughts or on anything I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give them a chance to put their views across, obviously on the football and what happened on Friday and how the weekend has panned out, to be honest, because it's interesting. Some are looking at it positively. Some are looking at it downbeat and a bit negative as well. Where do you stand? Get commenting in the comment section. Hello to everyone who's already in there. The guest tonight, you all know him very well. I'll start at the bottom because he's standing out like a mile. He's just got out of his hot tub. It's sunny in Canada, isn't it, mate? I tell you, it won't be bad isolating over in Canada, people. But Tim, how are you doing, mate? How are you feeling?
Mate, it's Father's Day, 30 degrees, chilling by the pool. Couple beers. Well, what else could you want?
I can see the hate on Owen's face already there at the top.
Mate, it's not the hate, it's the hangover. That's what that is.
Yeah, he wishes he was dealing with his hangover poolside, mate. Yeah. That's what it is.
Sure, mate. I'll tell you. Best thing for hangover is more beer.
Yeah.
I'm on the water, mate. I'm on the water.
Oh, he's suffering. Right, let's get into it. I'm going to come to you boys first. We're going to go straight into the game on Friday night, obviously. I'm going to go in. Let's start positive. I'm not going to go in all negative. But from that Owen on Friday night, mate, there were positives there. How did you see the game in general, mate? I mean, first of all, well, you can go into whatever you want on it, mate. A lot of people have picked up on the team selection, how slow we were, the way we played, the players looked rusty. But in that, we did pretty much dominate Tottenham for the whole game, I thought, especially. Yeah. How did you see it, Owen, mate? I mean, positive to come out with that?
Yeah, well, do you know what? I think I just seen it as I said it before on my show and on the show before. What I wasn't afraid about Tottenham and what their players could offer. I was afraid about the way Mourinho would set up, and I think we all seen that. They went up 1-0 by a dodgy goal and a mistake by De Gea, and then they just sat 11 men behind the ball and just sort of soaked us up. And we can't play against that. We've proved that we can't throughout the season. Whenever a team sits back against us, we seem to struggle, and. We just, I don't know, we had a lot of chances. The Reece did make a few good saves. The main positive, I think, was seeing Pogba and Bruno coming on and playing together, and they looked like they played well. Pogba had an amazing game. That ball to Rashford obviously stands out as a massive highlight. Wins the penalty as well. There's debate about whether it was a penalty or not. I think in a modern day, if a player goes down with any sort of contact, it kind of is a penalty. So we get the penalty, and it's lucky, and then... Look, I said before I thought we were going to draw. I'm not disappointed. I'm not hugely disappointed, but now we're 5 points behind Chelsea after them winning today. So top four is now looking a little bit more unlikely as well. And it's just it's a tough pill to swallow because I did manage to get a bit more confidence before the game. I think the few beers helped that, but it is a bitter pill to swallow because I've got a lot of Tottenham mates, and I just thought we had it in us, but wasn't to be.
Tim, how did you see it, mate? Anything to add to what Owen said there? Did you see it any differently than that?
No, it was same. I mean, the same as Owen touched on. Obviously, when the introduction of Pogba and Greenwood helped out. The thing for me, I love Dan James, but he's much better, isn't he, as a counterattacking player? He doesn't. In those 1v1 positions out wide, he's still got some growth to do. And I thought that Greenwood's so good when he gets the ball on the right and is able to cut in. Dan James for me he just didn't have a great game, and you know that's it just screamed out for a right winger, a proper right winger, and hopefully the Sancho deal goes down because we could use it. But overall, yeah, guys were. They just seemed very rusty. A lot of overhit balls. Passing wasn't as sharp as it could have been. I think I was a bit surprised with the midfield selection to start, but overall, I mean, I guess you take the draw from it. It's like coming into the first game of the season because it's like we've been off for 3 months. So tough game to come into against Spurs, but I guess you take the point.
Yeah, right. I'm going to go into a couple of things that you guys have just mentioned there. I've been waiting to see if you guys picked up on anything so I could come in on it. Owen, I'm going to start with you, mate, and something you just said. You knew what was coming with Jose Mourinho. I knew. I'm sure Tim knew.
We all knew.
I'm sure the rest of the effing world knew. So I'm sure Ole knew exactly what was coming. And then Ole comes out at the end of the game, his interview. I seen this after I'd done all my finishing touches on United Stand and left all my reviews and everything. And he comes out and says we were slow in the first half. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We had a drinks break halfway through that first half, and then we came out after the drinks break even slower. How are you not getting that message across to your players midway through the first half with no crowd there, with a drink to even get them by your side and tell them that in the first place? But before all of that, that's just an added insult to me because you knew what was coming. So why play two players in the hole when you know that you're going to get the ball? Why play two players that aren't suited to play in that position than the other guy who was on the bench is, a la Matic? People have their own...
Oh. Ads.
I'm here.
Well, me and Tim are still here, but Ads' connection seems to have gone to pot.
It's all good. I get with what he's saying.
Yeah.
With Matic,
Okay.
There we go. He's back.
There we go. Tim's just cut us off. He's saying it's not bright enough in Manchester. Anyway, where I was basically bringing up what Owen touched on there about knowing what Mourinho was going to do. So does the team selection come into that for you two? I'll start with you first, Tim, mate. Is it knowing what Mourinho's going to do? Is there any excuse for that team that he played? You knew he was going to put two banks of four, for example, and you just mentioned Dan James and the way he plays.
Yeah.
Would it not have been better putting Greenwood on, who can look after the ball better, plays with both feet, can go down the line and can cut inside, and it will be harder to defend against if you are defending deep? Is that not a point to put across? Is that not, or is that just me being too much?
No,
totally agree. That's what I was saying with the midfield selection. I was surprised that Matic wasn't in there because, I mean, you've heard a couple people say it over the last couple of days. You really, of our midfielders as of late that sit deeper, he's the one that sort of has been getting us going and getting the ball at his feet and moving us forward quickly. The whole thing, like you said, with the banks of four, and that's one of the real issues with us is when we get into the final third, it just becomes completely pedestrian because we don't. When we shift it wide, they know other teams know if they bring another defender towards Dan James that they can just slow things down, and that he can't beat them 1v1, so he can't get back into the middle. So. Like you said with Greenwood, that's why what I was saying was you get Greenwood, he can cut in. We've seen him cut in on that left hand with his left foot and be able to create things. So, and that's where, once you stretch teams, then you create that space in the middle. And it just wasn't the right game for Dan James for me.
Yeah, I mean, Owen, anything different to what Tim said there, mate? Or he's pretty similar?
Completely agree with that. No, we're not watching the Scousers. We don't want to watch the Scousers.
No, mate. If you know any United fans, mate, you don't ask a question like that. I just brought it up so the boys could.
Don't want to watch the Scousers. No, same as the two. Literally, I remember getting the team sheet at 7 o'clock. I remember turning to my brother and just being like, "Why is he starting James? James doesn't suit this. James is better. I think James is best when he's coming off the bench and making an impact at a tired defence." You look at it, both teams did look rusty throughout the game. Every team has looked rusty coming back. You've been off for 3 months. Dan James coming at a tired defence, 60 minutes on, rapid as fuck. Like he's like a greyhound when he's running. And then he could have made a massive impact coming off the bench, and Greenwood would have been better suited to start him. Bring Dan James on for 20 minits at the end, and then he could possibly make a difference. I remember just saying it. I said it, and I just wasn't happy with him starting, and he proved me right. He didn't do his job. I just don't think he was good. I don't think he suited that game at all in the slightest. I don't think he suits starting majority of games, to be honest. I think he's a better impact sub.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with what you guys saying there. I mean, everyone knew my team. It's funny how I got the team pretty much bang on apart from 3 players who he didn't start. And them 3 players all came on and made a massive impact, I'll be honest, because I had Matic playing. I had Greenwood in. and I had Pogba playing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when they came on, we just looked like we was that team I was expecting
17.
to go out and smash Spurs to pieces. I really did. And you know what? There is still positives to come out of the game. There is an awful lot. I am trying not to go in too hard because I do expect a bit of ring rust. But then I go and watch Chelsea against Villa this afternoon, and I'm looking at them going, why do they look so much sharper? So is there an excuse for it? If other teams have prepared better, then is that just a case of bad management, bad coaching, bad fitness? I mean, how far do you take that conversation? Because right now, talking about Chelsea, Tim, that's 5 points behind them now. And we're sort of clutching at straws that they get beat by City midweek and we beat Sheffield United. The Sheffield United game now turns into a massive game. Because I've said if we don't beat them, I think it's over for top four. I do.
Yeah.
I expected United to beat Spurs and Sheffield. But after watching Sheffield United again today, I don't know if you boys see that one. They look miles off it. So
You're missing 3 players.
Wow.
You're missing some players too.
Suspension now as well for Egan, and the team is sort of falling apart. So for me, looking at how Chelsea played, is there an excuse for United being as rusty as they was? Come to you first, Tim, mate. Sorry.
I think that it would, the rust part, it would be normal. Obviously, Chelsea look good, but I think most teams, you're going to see a bit of rust. I think that I understand, like, you have to think that he's talked to Pogba before the game or in training and said, how are you feeling? Do you think are you ready to start? Or do you think that you'd be more impactful coming from the bench? You would hope. You can't see him holding back a fully fit Pogba who's chomping at the bit to go and saying, I'm ready if you need me. I'm ready to start right from the off, and holding him back. You would hope, especially with Rashford. Rashford came back from injury, and he went right in. So you would think that would be the case. Once the problem for us is depth. Once you get past the likes of Bruno, once you get past Pogba, and you're talking about sort of, Fred, Matic, McTominay as your, as good as well as they were playing, they're still like outside of, well, who other of the top 6 of those players going to walk into? I don't think any 3 of those players are walking. They're not getting in, like Edidi. No one's getting in Leicester. They're not getting at City. They're not getting at Liverpool. Chelsea, I don't think they're getting into. So really, like, outside of those players, if Pogba's not ready to go, now you're looking at sort of drawing from a pool of players that just isn't. They're not good enough in terms of that long layoff to come back and hit the ground running for me.
Yeah, I mean, Owen, how do you see it, mate? Any excuse there, or is it just been put to bed by the way Chelsea played today, mate? Look, sharp. Yeah,
Chelsea is sharp, but I think every team is gonna have a massive. There's going to be different starts to each team. Some teams will be slower coming out of the blocks than others, and that is the way of it. And obviously, your top players at the level of your game. You shouldn't have to take you 2 or 3 games to get into it, but sometimes it just does, and that's just the way it is. And it's a pain in the arse. Look, but the Sheffield game, we're talking about that, as a couple of lads have mentioned in the comments there, missing Egan. I'm a massive fan of Egan. He's from where my family are from in Ireland, so I've known about him for a while. I'm a big fan of his, and Henderson as well, missing because of the loan scheme. So missing 2 huge players there. So that's can only be an advantage to us. Look, I think it's just a 5-point gap is just a lot, and I can't see us not making another slip up, and that's the one thing I look at. I can see Chelsea making maybe another. Chelsea could still make another 2 or 3 slip ups, but I don't see us not making those 2 or 3 slip ups as well. I could see us, against West Ham or something, dropping and getting a draw and something like that. Just I can see us making other slip ups, which will cost us that. And unless we could go into the Sheffield game now, this might have been the kick up the arse that they needed, and Oli may now see his best team selection and see that Pogba kind of has to start. And in all fairness, a few of us have said Pogba to start, but the majority of the fan base was against Pogba starting. people were saying that he might maybe shouldn't come back in because of the way the team had been playing before without him. But he's clearly proven that he needs to start. And
I think we were all shocked because we talked on this in the last show how leading up to this game in training, he had Pogba and Fernandez training together relentlessly, and you were just like, okay, this is just meant to be. So I think everyone was a bit shocked when the reports started coming out a couple days before that he was thinking of a different midfield three. Yeah.
I was amazed that he played Fred and McTominay. I really was. I just couldn't get my head around that. And I understand where people are coming from, the energy side of it, but I just didn't see us needing them because I was gutted because we basically played Spurs with 10 men because Harry Kane, oh my God, he just wasn't even there. He might not have not played. He was worse than Aubameyang was in the City game. He was just non-existent. And with every time Spurs got the ball, and I'm going to come into this in a minute because we're going to get into the players and how they played, how everyone thought each one played. But everything came down our left side. And every time, they seem to have acres of space down that right-hand side. I'm going to start in the defence, actually, because I think that's where most of the critique is probably going to come. We'll leave De Gea until last in this back line. But for me, I'm going to start with Luke Shaw. A lot of people rated Luke Shaw very, very highly in the game. I give him a 4 on the United stand out of 10. I give him a 4. And I'll tell you why I give him a 4. I didn't really get a chance to go into detail on it much. I've had a chance to settle down and watch it back, and I've not changed my mind. Going forward, I thought that was one of Luke Shaw's better games. But their 3 major chances in the game all came down Luke Shaw's side, every single one. One of them was a bit embarrassing. Second half, when the long ball came over, he was about 50 yards behind where he should be. And because he was 50 yards behind, he actually made it back just in time to make a clearance. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
That was awful, man.
It was ridiculous. Obviously, the goal started with Shaw. I'm not letting him off the hook. Some people, for some reason, are saying he wasn't his fault. There was a few people at fault in that. I named 4 of them. We'll get into their parts in that mistake and the goal in a minute. But for me, Luke Shaw kind of undone all the good that he did going forward because he did actually put in a really good ball for Martial, which Lloris made a really good save from, a save of the game. And you know what? Going forward, he wasn't too bad for me. But he undone everything in just being completely out of position all the time at the back. That's why I gave Luke Shaw a 4. I don't know how you guys seen it. Was I being harsh or did he deserve that in terms of how his game balanced out overall? Owen, what did you see it as, mate?
I think a 4 might be a bit harsh, but not far off, to be honest. I probably only a 5, to be honest. I wouldn't look. As you said, that ball from Martial, and he looked good going forward. But I think a lot of the criticism as to why Williams hasn't been starting is that Shaw was a lot better than him defensively and that he was great going forward. I think Williams is better than him going forward, and if Shaw doesn't then offer that more reassurance defensively, then you start Williams ahead of him. So I think he's, if he has another couple of games like that, he's kind of just undone all of the good he's done in the last couple of months, where people have started to see him maybe as the starting left back or as a left centre back within the back 3. But I wouldn't say just defensively, and obviously the modern fullback has to go forward a lot more. But as a defender, your first job is to defend the goal. There's no, you can put all the crosses in you like. Everyone, gets really excited about Alexander-Arnold. The amount of times he's been undone at the back, he can put all these crosses, create all these assists. Our first port of call is he's a defender, and he has to defend his goal and help his team in a defensive manner. So I think Shaw wasn't good enough, and I'd start Williams next game.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, how did you see Shaw's performance, mate?
Yeah, I think a 4 or 5 is fair. We're going to get into the goal, but the mistake he made on the goal for me is, we'll talk about it. But no, Owen's right. Like especially in that formation that United want to play, getting your width from your fullbacks. They're almost playing like the modern day fullback is almost just a wing back. That's where your width is coming from. You have to cover so much ground, and that was the reason why they went out and got Aaron Wan-Bissaka why he was top of the list, because his recovery rate was so good. He can get forward and he can get back and make those last-ditch tackles. I mean, some people like a defender they'll stay on their feet and stand up. I know Ricky likes that type of defender on the United stand, but Shaw just doesn't have that ability. Doesn't have the ability to bomb forward and support and then get back, especially if we give a ball away in a dangerous area. Now he's got to get back and recover. And he just gets himself into some bad positions sometimes because of that. So I think for sure a 4 or 5. And when we get into the goal, we'll break.
Right. Well, I'm going to get into the
3 for me. I don't know.
I'm going to get into the goal now, which pretty much covers my marks for the rest of the defence, to be honest. Mistake number 1, Luke Shaw's header. People say he played the ball forward. He did what he had to do. No, he played a weak header forward, then chased the ball, left himself completely out of position. He could have easily headed the ball to the right, which was an easier one where Fred was. But why he went forward after heading the ball, leaving the space behind him, that then brings Harry Maguire across. I give Maguire a 4 as well. I thought he didn't have a lot to do, but the one highlighted part is why everyone's going way, way over the top. And even you lot in the comments saying he's not worth it, you're way over the top. Harry Maguire is a very good defender. He made one mistake which cost us, and it was a bad mistake. I'm not going to hide. I'm not one of these people who is going to back a player and try and find an excuse for a mistake he's made just because I like him. I like Harry Maguire, but completely wrong-footed himself, got the wrong side, and was completely out of action. Then bringing into that, Victor Lindelof, who I give a 4 also to. Didn't have a lot to do. But then again, as a centre-half, I know I played centre-half all my life. And even at non-league level, you're taught to read the game. And when your fellow centre-back is 2 yards behind the player who's running down on goal, your main job is to get right across, read that danger, and stop that shot coming in. Too slow. Now, some will say ring rust. Yeah, I give him a 4 as well. And then we're coming down onto just under 400 grand a week, rated as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Now, I think we all heard Roy Keane's comments on this particular subject. I wouldn't go that far as to throwing punches. I think that was probably old school.
You say that,
90s Keane. He was so angry. You could But
you say that as if you're playing non-league and a keeper made that level of a blunder, you probably would be fucking raging with it at half time. As a player, you would maybe not throwing punches, but shouting and
end of the game.
Abuse.
At the end of the game, he would be getting it, not at half time, because I still need him in the game, mate. But I think Keane sort of came back on that, to be honest, at the end. And I'm not letting Maguire off, like Keane said, for that other save. That was a routine save for De Gea. That I think I give De Gea a 3 out of 10. Because that ball was right at him, and how he didn't keep that out is beyond me. Now, last 12 games United have played, we've conceded 3 goals. And it sounds great. But with De Gea in goal, he's probably cost us Champions League football. Because against Everton, it was his mistake, lethargic, cost us 2 points. That was one of the goals. Against Tottenham, stupid goalkeeping error. It's cost us another 2 points. There's 4 points De Gea single-handedly. You could say, if you're being overcritical, and the standards we hold De Gea to, 4 player of the seasons in a row, rated as one of the best, just under 400 grand a week. We've got to rate him highly. That's not good enough. 4 points, that could easily cost us Champions League football if you want to be that harsh and that critical. But I've said this so many times, I'm sure I said it to you guys as well. De Gea has to change his game. He hasn't got a crap defence in front of him now, hence the 3 goals in 2 games. But 2 of them goals have been outright his fault, in my eyes. So people slagging off the rest of the defence, saying this and saying that, you know what? It isn't that bad. We have made some mistakes, but the biggest mistakes, I think, have been De Gea's. That's why he got a 3. Now, I'll come to you first, though, when you've heard what I've said there, mate. So just give me how you see Maguire, Lindelof and De Gea in that.
Yeah, Maguire is getting all sorts of dogs abuse on Twitter, Instagram, the whole thing. It's the price tag. And I think, look, it's not his... It annoys me when players get done in for the price tag because it's not their... They didn't fucking choose how much they were worth. You know, it's just... It's the only reason he's not worth 85 million. We all know that. No footballer is really worth that, but it's just, you know, he's an English player. That's how much you got to pay to get a player out of Leicester. That's just how it is. and he's getting dogs abuse for it. And I think it's unfair. He didn't have the greatest of games, and that mistake is a massive one. But at the same time, De Gea should still be saving that. It's a comfortable save. It's a save that, you know, every goalkeeper at a Premier League level should be comfortable enough to make. Lindelof, you made a point of he should be tracking back and making that run as well. Wan-Bissaka didn't have his greatest of games as well either, to be honest. I didn't think he looked up to his look. I think we hold him to a lot higher, like De Gea, we hold him to a lot higher of a standard than the majority of the members of the squad. And I think he gave away the ball quite a lot. His passing looked off. I don't think he was up to it. Then hopefully that's just rust, and hopefully next game he's back at it. But the back line as a whole just was disappointing, and that blunder from De Gea is just sticking out like a sore thumb, and it's annoying me. But look, he's made now. I think that's the 8th or 9th goal error leading to a goal in the last 2 seasons or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's supposed to be top 3 in the world. We all rate him. Look, and you don't. If you're a top 3 goalkeeper in the world, you don't make that many mistakes this often, and it's killing us because we all love him. And I think you know that good credit that you have in the bank, it only lasts you so long. And if he does make another mistake before the end of the season, we could see a lot of fans massively turning against him.
It's just been made a point there. If he carries on and it does cost us in the end, that all the last 7 years will end up being forgotten about because it's the here and now. You know what I mean? We're suffering right now. I mean, we're not suffering like an Arsenal suffering. No. But to be honest, for the players we've got, I think we have got a lot more quality players in and a better squad. So I'd expect us to be a lot higher. I mean, Tim, how in terms of that defence and the rest of the defence, including De Gea, how would you see their sort of scores from the game? Did you see any difference to me and Owen?
No, well, I think for the Maguire one, I think you have to look at that. We touched on the sequence of events building up to that. So it was a comedy of errors, and Shaw stick or goes instead of he should have stuck like we talked about with the header and chased it. Didn't know where the ball was going. So he gets pulled out of position, and then Maguire has to come across, and then as soon as you have somebody running if you're a defender, as you know, Adam, playing center back, what's the worst nightmare is someone running at you with pace. And I mean, it's obviously 3 months. His footwork is going to be off a bit. You know, it's totally different in training than what he's going up to in a game in terms of being in that situation. So I give him a little bit of a reprieve. I think he's going to be fine. Lindelof for me, this season, for sure, his positioning has just been, for me, has been terrible, and that's pulled players out of position. He hasn't been strong in the air. So for me, Lindelof takes a bit more stick for me than Harry Maguire. And then Wan-Bissaka, I thought that, you know, he got forward decently, put in a couple good balls. You know,
I think the general consensus on Bissaka is that he's brilliant at defending, but he's really struggling going forward. To be honest, he's going forward. He was useless against Spurs. He put some balls in, but to be honest, they weren't really the right balls for me for the players we had on the pitch. When Igalo was in the box, they might have been better balls, but we've seen straight away as soon as we'll come onto the midfield now. But as soon as we made the substitutions, and we had people like Greenwood and Pogba on, the variety was so much more better going forward. We seem to have a few more options. And obviously the movement may not have been good at first, which is why Wan-Bissaka looks like he was putting balls into no man's land. But to be honest, you've got to know who's playing as well and who's around you and how they play. And that's what I would have hoped they would have worked on in training. They've had long enough. But you know what? It's one of them, innit? He's not known for it. Hopefully he can get better doing it.
He'll improve. But I think the De Gea one for me, I think you guys sort of talked on, is this currency is being spent. And he built up that currency over the last few years when, you know, we just weren't good enough, and he was saving us in a lot of games. I think that maybe there's got to be something else going on behind the scenes, or just the focus isn't there. I mean, we all remember those great United teams with Van der Sar and Schmeichel, where the other team they'd have nothing to do. I mean, Van der Sar would have the kettle on, he'd be sipping on a brew, and all of a sudden in the 60th minute, the other team would pop up with a chance, but he was ready. They were ready for that chance, and so when the chance came, you knew that they were gonna dig you out of a hole for that one opportunity. And I think that's what happened with us, is like it just knocked us back, and that's the problem. Is United started the game fairly well, and then all of a sudden, that one mistake, and that's what's happened, is when he's made those mistakes, it's not like it comes when we're up 4-0. It comes at times when we need him to stand up and be counted for us.
Yeah.
And you're, like you said, that currency is wearing thin, and as the pressure of he's seeing what's going on with Dean Henderson, is the pressure getting to him, knowing that there's someone chomping at the bit who's been very vocal about wanting his job. Who knows? But he's got to fix it.
I think Henderson kind of didn't do himself any favours today. I think one of the goals he was definitely at fault for. I think it was the first one.
Rich. I would say the one at Richie, his positioning for Richie's goal was pretty poor. I think
his positioning was poor, but I don't think he saves it. I mean,
I still think, you know what? I've watched what he's done, the way he gets across his box. I think the first goal really pretty much shook him, because you're seeing his defence now, and he's losing confidence in his defence. And you know what? You can see that coming a mile off. When you start losing your players in front of you, which he is, then you don't feel as confident. And let's see how he comes through this. He's got a week off now because he's not playing against us. So we will see how he comes through it. And hopefully not too bad, because Sheffield are going to start getting the pressure put on them now, because teams are going to be aware that, you know what, if you've got a bit of pace going forward, then Sheffield can be got at, because Newcastle tore them apart today, and that was with 11 men on the pitch. So we will see. Interesting times. But moving into our team and midfield, this is where the substitutes sort of take over a little bit, because I'll come to McTominay and Fred first, and this was just a flat 5 out of 5 for each player for me. None was better than the other. Both had good moments. Both had pretty average, poor passing. Looked like complete ring rust to me for both of them. Fred had some good moments, I did think. I thought McTominay had some decent battles, but then the passing, which I am going to give him a little bit of leeway for, because they're both not renowned for being world-beating passers of the ball, which is why I couldn't believe Ollie played both of them, to be honest, because that's where I think we got let down, especially in the first half. Our passing was really bad, and it was totally off. People were picking up on Bruno's stats, but to be honest, a lot of the time Bruno was playing the simple balls and players weren't reading him. And that's where I thought, you know what, we just needed someone with the experience, like a Matic, alongside him. Someone who can actually just be calm on the ball and pass it sensibly. And that's basically what my issue was with Fred and McTominay. You know what? For me, it wasn't all their fault, because I don't think they're the best when they play together. And it showed for me. They were both a bit off match sharpness, and the passing weren't great. They're not fantastic passers anyway, like I said, though. I mean, did you see anything more than that in them two, Owen, than what I've seen?
No, I don't think I wasn't extremely disappointed with them, because I didn't.
Yeah.
They
did what they do.
I think we've become to expect a little bit more of Fred, because he's done quite well since Bruno's come in. But all in all,
his worst game in about 3 months, to be honest.
It was like the Fred of old, really. And again, like I've said before, hopefully it's just rust. Hopefully he's getting back into it. But it's a bit of a painful one, to be honest. It was just, as you said earlier, there was no need to play two holding midfielders against the side, against Spurs, with the way they were playing. But yeah, it just wasn't great. And then no different. The difference that Pogba made when he came on was instant. You've seen it straight away, man. And he's different gravy and should definitely be starting next game.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, mate. I mean, Tim, did you see it any differently than Owen in terms of them two midfielders in particular?
No, same. I mean, you
they
guys
do what they do, don't they?
Yeah. I think it was does down to rust, like you said, because Fred has been playing really well leading up to the break, and McTominay really shown growth this season. So maybe it's just down to a lack of experience, sort of playing at this level.
I think
that interruption.
Yeah, in all fairness, I'm not particularly worried about Fred and McTominay and the way they've come across in this game. They basically, I don't think, play the best when they're playing alongside each other. And I just think they both came in. They both had a very similar game. It wasn't the best game, but we know what they're made of. We know they're improving all the time. Whether or not they're going to be first-team starters when we are starting to try and push what we all hope we are going to, as United standards used to be, trying to get back up there, they're probably both squad players for me. And it may seem harsh to a lot of people, but that's how I see them. I do see them playing a massive part in United's future. But if we had to pick a first team to play right now, none of them got in for me, as everyone knows. But I do still see them playing a massive part. So, Nicky Butt didn't have a bad career, and that's how I see McTominay. I really do. It's the same. Fred, he will play a big part. I know he will. But I do feel like in certain games he may play better and be the right answer for us. Maybe in the more defensive games against the City or Liverpool, someone like that might be his game. That really might be his game. But in these sort of games, when I know we just need that control, if we controlled that a little bit better in our passing, we would have walked all over Spurs. I know we would have. Anyway, moving on into...
Fred McTominay will strike me as the type of players that you can, same as you used to give Park Ji-sung a role, or the way Herrera, the role that he, Mark Hazard out of the game. And those are the type of players that you could say to Fred McTominay, that's your role, step in this game, and that's what we need from you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, moving into what a few people thought was one of Bruno's worst games. I mean, I don't see it like that. I understand where people would look at stats and see his passing wasn't great, but I think it all comes down to we have such a high expectation of Bruno now after what he's done that when he has an average game, it just looks bad. That's how I've seen it with a few people. But I thought he was our only one who looked like he was going to be able to open anything up, especially in the first half. And for me, I gave him a 7. I gave him man of the match, to be honest. I gave him a 7, which was the highest rating I gave any player in the game. Because I just thought that he was the one who was trying things all the time. And yes, there were a few stray passes, but he's the one who's taking a chance. And that's just my opinion on how I like to see football played. You may totally disagree, but I like players taking chances. It's my style of football, my own opinion. But for me, I just seen him being the one who was trying again. He was trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, change the pace of the game, and that's what I like to see. So I gave him a 7. I mean, Tim, how did you see Bruno in this game? I mean, it wasn't
I don't know if
best we've seen of Bruno, but to be honest, mate, he still got the goal. He still took the penalty away, and his 4th goal now already.
I don't know if I'd probably give him a 6. I don't know if maybe I'd give him a 7. Like you said, a good penalty. Tried some things that didn't come off, but a lot of stray passes. He got caught in possession a couple of times. I mean, by Bruno, obviously a 6 by Bruno standards, because we know what we saw what Bruno is capable of before football stops. So, but I mean, he like you said, it's Bruno's gonna Bruno. He's gonna try things. He's gonna try, the audacious. That's what we want. We want Rolls-Royce footballers that are gonna try things, but it just didn't come off for him.
Yeah, I mean, Owen, how did you see Bruno's game, mate?
Yeah, as you both touched on, like he set himself such high standards after the few games he played. Like, one February player of the month. He'd been here 5 minutes and he made a massive impression on the Premier League.
Team of the
year. Yeah. I mean, there must have been a lot of fucking United fans clicking that over and over again. But I don't think anyone had a good game, really and truly, on both sides. I thought, like, on the game as a whole, it wasn't a great game of football. It was, just good because of the way that Tottenham were playing. He wasn't terrible. He tried things. He looked like the only person who could create something until Pogba came on, really. And I think I agree with Tim in what he was saying, that I wouldn't give him a 7 because I just don't think he was extraordinary just by his standards. I think a 6 is a fairer judgment.
I think the next time, moving into the front line now, I think there's pretty much. I gave Dan James a 3. I just didn't. I thought he was. He just didn't have any effect on the game at all. One time he did actually take his man on. He looked dangerous with his pace, which is his main attribute. He never uses it. And he put a ball in. It was a bit over it because Rashford had already laid out his defender on the edge of the box and was completely free in the area. If James had just been aware, he could have chipped a little ball, dinked a little ball in, but it was completely overhit. Chance lost. Again, fine lines, but fine lines are what are expected at this level, I think. And James still hasn't learnt it yet. And he just did nothing for me in the game. He was totally ineffective. And that's why I gave him, it was a 3 or a 4, can't actually remember now, but he just did nothing for what we needed him to do. I mean, Owen, did you see James in any different light than me?
Nope, completely 100% agree with you. I don't disagree. I honestly don't think he should have started. Said it straight away when I see the team sheet. Was not happy that he was starting. Greenwood should have been starting for me, and I don't. Yeah, he had a poor performance. Not to say that it was simply because of him. Everyone in the team didn't perform well, but yeah, just poor. Just didn't offer anything. Didn't look like he was going to make something happen at any point. Just wasn't good enough. Didn't think he should have started. Thought he would have done a lot better coming on, as I've already said.
Yep, definitely. I think I agree with Shane O'Neill there totally. Would have been my choice there. I mean, Tim, how do you see James' performance, mates?
Yeah, same, mate. There's not much to add. I mean, we've touched on it. It wasn't the right game for him. I feel for him a bit this year just because he's getting put in these positions where you're almost setting him up for failure because he's such a better player when we're playing against the side that we can counterattack against. So, but a 3 for me, and I just hope that we get a proper right winger and we don't break Dan James.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's hard on the lad, isn't it? But he is a good impact substitute, and he'll have to learn. He'll learn. He's got to learn and learn quick because United fans, we're not the most patient as it is. But if we're losing ground on getting back to the Champions League where we should be as a minimum, and we see players like that doing absolutely nothing in a game, and he's going to get the critique, and he's going to have to learn to deal with that and try and improve and use it and push on from there. But yeah, he had a poor game for me. Not the best start for him. Moving on to the dynamic duo up front. I would say Martial and Rashford, for me, both got straight 5s. I thought they were both rusty. They both looked like they needed a bit more game time. I thought Martial got better, I'll be honest, in the second half. He seemed like he was finding more spaces when Pogba came on. And a lot of people picked up on the fact that he was probably substituted at the wrong time because he was just coming into the game. I think Ricky brought that up, and I actually agree with him on that one. Maybe Rashford being injured for so long was probably the substitute. And everyone knows I love Rashford, but I tell you, as it is, and that's how I seen it. I thought Martial was getting in some good positions, and maybe if he was on longer, it might have changed. But he missed 2 chances. He made one good save out of Lloris from Luke Shaw's cross, and then this is why I picked on Bruno before, because I don't see anyone else, maybe Pogba, seeing that pass inside the 18-yard box pretty much. Instead of shooting, just lays it on a plate for De Gea. And that's the type of player. That's the thing we're expecting from Bruno, the little killer passes that no one sees. So for me, I gave Rashford and Martial a 5 each. They weren't bad. They both made the keeper make saves. I just feel like it was a little bit of ring rust for them too, to be honest. I think they will get sharper, and I'm not worried for either one of them. I'm just glad they got through the game. No one was injured. I would have loved Martial to put one of them chances away, but it wasn't to be. I mean, did you guys see it any different left? Tim, Martial, Rashford, it's just one of them, wasn't it, mate, I think?
Yeah, I'd say.
Standard. I thought Martial probably got battered by Dyer a lot in the first half, but the balls weren't right for him. When Pogba came on, I thought he started to show more, and I was a bit disappointed when he came off, to be honest.
Pogba had him on toast.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think a 5 is a fair judgment of those two. The rest was there. They both had a couple chances that the one that Martial had, I think it was the cutback from Shaw. the cut back, the ball that got the low drive back across goal that the keeper made a decent save on. So, but I mean, Rashford had a couple of two where normally you would see him on that left where he'd cut in on the right, and there was a couple chances where that he had to shoot and didn't have his shooting boots on. It just, you're yelling at him to shoot it, but he ended up, laying it off. And like you said, a bit of rust. So them, like the two that we talked about, Fred McTominay, the players that we know are going to get better and improve, we're not worried about. So
yeah. Same. Are we any different on them two, mate?
Not really. Maybe I think 5 might be a bit harsh on Martial, because I think he did have a couple of chances that he was unlucky with. That one from Lloris was a spectacular save, and I think if we go,
game.
Yeah, 100%. And if it goes in, we're talking about him getting a 7. So I think maybe a 6 for Martial, because he was quite unlucky with that. But yeah, really and truly, as Tim said, they're not worried about him, because we know they're going to get the feel of it. That rust will come off, and hopefully next game they'll be fit and flying.
Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly get through the subs as quick as we can, because we're getting close to the end. The main man, the one everyone's talking about. I mean, I give Pogba a 7 just for his cameo, because he was that influential in the game. And you know what? All I'm thinking about is, why didn't he start? Even if he only had an hour in him, an hour is better than 20 minutes at the end for Pogba, I would have thought, and he could have done more damage in that, and the game could have been to bed. But Pogba's influence, and like you said, Deno, when you nailed it, I said exactly the same thing, mate. Dyer was Spurs' best player until Pogba came on the pitch, and then Pogba just made him look like a non-league player straight away, instantly. And then Dyer nearly gave another penalty away. It's just the confidence that Pogba spread through the forward line as soon as he came on. It was clear. It was just so obvious. So for me, I gave him a 7 straight out. Greenwood, when he came on, I thought Greenwood did damage. I really did. I thought he did more in his little cameo than James did in the whole game. Yeah. I think I give Greenwood, got a 6 for me. I thought he was quality, and he has to start the next game if he's going to put anyone on the right and play that system again. Mm-hmm. And then Ighalo didn't really get much chance, but did hold the ball up well, like Ighalo does in the little cameo that he had. So I think it was 5, 6, 7. Ighalo 5, Greenwood 6, Pogba 7. I think he even give Matic a 6, because he was just a calming influence. So, I mean, did you see anything different from the subs, Owen?
No, man. Pogba, we all know he has it in him. It just depends on whether he does it on the day. And he done it completely. He was just perfect when he came on. He was just a player.
The ball to Rashford, mate. Yeah.
The ball to Rashford was it was beautiful. Honestly, we were all looking at it. It was magnificent. And Sanchez made a great recovery. To be fair, Davinson Sanchez, unlucky for Rashford there.
Rashford's poor touch, I think, let that one down.
And like you're talking about Greenwood's influence, Greenwood had that chance towards the end. I thought it was in myself. I dropped my pint on the floor and everything. It was but Greenwood has regularly had that sort of impact from the right hand side, so has to be starting next game. Ighalo does what Ighalo does, comes on, holds up the ball, and can pop up with the occasional goal. So yeah, again, as you said, for Ighalo, 5 standard, does what he says on a tin, sort of thing. Matic had a calming influence. Probably should have started on reflection of the game. And yeah, nothing too different about that, really, man.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, did you see the subs any differently, mate?
Not really, mate. We touched on it. Greenwood, for me, the ability to take players on one-on-one on that right-hand side was something we were sorely missing. And then I thought that our attack actually got better when Matic came on, because I thought he got us out of the back quicker. Which was something that was sorely missing. And then, of course, like you guys touched on, Pogba, he came on, he was just switched on right from the start. You could just tell that he was just ready to go, and then sharp, just sharp right from the get-go. And then, as you said, they won the penalty against Dyer, had him on toast, as Owen said, and then that ball to Rashford. There's not, think about that. Put his head up just for a second on the half, I think it was on the volley or the half volley, and it was just just on point, and
that's
beautiful.
It. Yeah, we have got plenty to look forward to. I mean, we're finishing there pretty much on a positive note, because the subs, knowing that could be the team, hopefully they have a part in the team against Sheffield United on Wednesday. It gives us a little bit of hope going forward for me. So, yeah, I've got to look at that as a bit of a positive to finish with because we were miles on top by the end. So that is pretty much it, boys. I'm going to head over to United Stand now and have it out with Ricky probably again. We've got a few differences in opinions, so let's go tune into that one. And a happy Father's Day, lastly, to all you dads out there. Hope you've all had a great day or having a good day. If you look at Tim over in Canada there at the bottom, he's poolside, just about to get in his jacuzzi with a cold one. Kids playing in the pool. It's not a bad life, is it? It's not a bad life. But Owen, cheers for coming on as well, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers for having me.
Yeah, just give the people a shout out to your socials, Owen, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Up Nigeria as well, up the Igalo. And it's Cockney Red 99 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And check out the show I did with Adam, just a preview and look ahead to the weekend. We had a look at some old away day memories, and Adam's was quite a tale to listen to.
Yeah, mine's always the best. You know what it is, mate. You know what it is.
You got 20 years of football on me. What am I supposed to do?
Mate. That's it, mate. I got plenty to talk about. Tim, tell the people your social, mate.
Same, mate. At Niagara MUFC, where it's the official handle for the supporters club over here. So if you're ever over Niagara and tourist destination, track us down. It would be great to have you out to our pub to watch a game once we get back there. So
defo, mate, defo.
Yeah.
All right, people, thanks for everyone coming on in the comments show. Take it easy. I'll see you over on the United Stand. Hopefully you all tune into that one. That should be a good show as well. But happy Father's Day to everyone. Hit that subscribe button and the like button. Give the video a share as well. Plenty to talk about going forward. At least we've got some relevant football chat going on right now. And it's better than what it was last week, isn't it? Because we can actually talk about things that are happening and not what we're hoping to happen. As disappointed as we are, I know there's always another game around the corner now to try and get our teeth into. Take it easy, people. Yeah. Stay safe. I will see you in the week. Obviously, look ahead towards Sheffield United and then the Sheffield United game. So, yeah, plenty coming up. Take it easy, people. Bye-bye.